Said, Alfred. I want to move on to Ray on this question. So firstly, there's two questions here. One thing is that you portray something very different. So usually movies on even normal, like LGBT movies or even romantic comedies, they focus more on relationships. You focus on the aftermath on this aspect. And then the other part is also you focus on older characters as well. So even the soap you focus on older characters. Is this important to you that you focus on this aspect that not often said? And also, how does this impact, like, what do you want to show to Hong Kong also international?
Yeah, I think the aftermath, in a way, Alfred has already answered it, is that in a lot of the times that we felt that our relationship is being recognized, but unfortunately in the law, you are not being recognized for it. And there's a lot of when one person hasn't done enough to protect their partner, particularly if you're in an LGBTQ relationship, then really you are leaving your partner very vulnerable. And exactly that's what the movie wanted to show the aftermath, is that Angie not just lost property, lost a lover, she really lost her identity as well, and also lost her dignity. And so for someone like that, at that age, and she really has lost everything, and that really isn't a lot of choices that she could make. So I think for that reason, that's why I wanted to make the movie that way. And to answer the other questions about why the movies that I make focus on people who are of a certain generation, is because they are beautiful, they have lived all this wonderful life, they have so much to tell. And why isn't our world telling their stories? Why are we focused on people who are 21 who haven't had a life experience yet? What is so great about seeing that? And we've seen that so many times already. So, and people are living longer, and the world have to deal with people who are living up to 70, 80, and 90. And we need to tell their stories as well. I think particularly that when you get to a certain age now, you're still very healthy. You are not just playing a grandparent's role. You still have other life that you can live. You still can have another career. You still can fall in love. You still will have sex drive. You still have vanity. All those things still can be explored. So movies should reflect that, instead of just whenever you see movies, you see a person who's over 60, they're always grandmom, they're always granddad, they're supposed to say something wise, and then...
I hate to correct you, Tom Cruise is over 60 as well.
Still wishing the costume.
Yeah, but he's not playing someone older, right? He's still playing someone who's in their 30s, yeah.
And on to Angie here, so how's Ray as a director? Like, how does he help you to explore this character, especially through the self-discovery? What kind of director is he? Is it like a Wong Kar-wai who just does it without script, or does he script this, you have to do this? Maybe you can...
Oh, he has a script. He's not like Wong Kar-wai. Ray would show you the script because he usually writes his own script, and he is not the kind of director who is a dictator, so you can actually offer your opinion, and sometimes you can beg to differ. And then, of course, you would think about it. You may come back, I think mine is better. Or sometimes you would, okay, we can consider yours. And as far as directing is concerned, he is a very gentle and very thorough director. And he would always go through the character with you in detail. And he would also give us backstories. Each of the main characters, even the minor ones, he would give you a backstory so that everyone is on the same page, because you know your life, and it's about relationship. If I don't know past, it's difficult for me to build a relationship. And also before the day of shooting, we will do improvisation. To enhance our relationship based on your backstory of each other. Let's say he would ask, let's say Victor, who's a nephew, and he and I did a workshop, and Ray was give us a situation. Victor has some, issues with the ladies, and he would come to me and talk to me because in our backstory is that Victor actually spent a few years with me in my home when, you know, Pat and I were together. So we did a workshop on that of, you know, how he would talk to me about his lady travel, which is not on here. Oh yeah, well, he did talk to me about lady trouble, but you know, things like that. He would give us situations and improvisation so that based on that backstory, we know one another. It would be like, you know, on the first day of shooting, we seem to know one another very well. It would be like a family. Would not be like, okay, I don't know who this one is, so okay, so I will pretend. There is no need to pretend because it seems to me that we know who we are in that family. And as far as acting style is concerned, Ray requires very delicate, not like over the top kind of acting. When I first, when we first met, it was for Sok Sok, and I play the wife of one of the gay lovers, and it was 7 years ago, believe it or not, but you know, it was also my debut in film business. Although I have been stage actress for over 30 years. I mean, I teach on the side because I have to make a living. So, but on the side, I do stage acting. And then, you know, I don't really, I think Ray has some reservations too. Stage actress, overact on screen. And then he would tell, you know, he told me, I'm looking for the Yasujiro Ozu type of acting. I said, okay, no problem. Because I remember I took a course on Yasujiro Ozu years ago, of course, because I'm 72 years old now, and the acting course that I took must be over, I don't know, maybe 45 years ago. But I remember Yasujiro Ozu. So I said, no problem. I know who he is, and I know his way of acting. And that's how it goes.
With that, I'm going to open up the floor first. Any first takers? First question? Raymond? Mike?
My question's for the director, Ray. Great to see you downstairs. Thank you for a really insightful, subtle, and interesting movie with a lot of insights, as Alfred and Patra and everybody is discussing. I can't help but ask whether there was you made a conscious narrative decision in making the couple to be sort of like in a fairly obviously economically better situation than, you know, the rest of the family. I can only imagine that the story would probably not be as powerful if the couple were living in a more modest apartment, you know, without, and you know, there was something about a Rolex that was going to be gifted to one of the family members, and also it's very clear that the couple are at the nucleus; they're the center of the extended family. They go there for the family festival, the celebrations. It's where the family gathers. So, can you discuss a little bit about that choice when you were writing the script? Thanks.
Yeah, I think I just wanted Angie to be a character where in this family she was cherished and respected. I think that was very important. That I kind of like imagined that it was like a lion, and she is like the lioness, and that is how it was. But then when the lion died, and then the lioness is being expelled, from the group. So I kind of had this imagination that as the situation that she got herself in. And I also want her to be almost like a matriarch of this family members, this unit as well, where everybody comes to her and she kind of like very nice to everybody, very pleasant. So everybody almost owes her something to a certain extent. But yet when the situation arises that none of them come to her rescue, none of them even acknowledge her, right? Even in that scene when they're in the lawyer's office, when she said that, well, I thought every one of you sort of expected me to live there for the rest of my life, and she looks around and nobody look her in the eyes and nod. So I mean that is the reality of the situation. So I think it was something that I decided to do it that way. And also I think that also reflect a few things which I thought was quite interesting. I think it was just about the characters, is that having an older brother who's less successful and having a younger sister who's more successful. I think that is also something a very interesting dynamic as well. And also reflected in Hong Kong, a woman in that era to a certain extent, were able to rise themselves, be independent and make good living for themselves. Certainly a lot of the lesbian couples that I met, a lot of them came from very, very modest backgrounds, and then they were able to really rise up go up the social ladder and able to collect some wealth when they get older. So I thought that was a really, through interviews that I met people, and a few of them have that kind of situations that make me want to just reflect the reality.
If I may add, one thing that touched me the most is the scene when the brothers, the sister-in-law and Angie were having a conversation, and the sister-in-law said, "I was actually very jealous of you." The reality is that a lot of ladies in their early 20s at the time did not have a choice to choose who they want to marry. They just needed to get out of their situation by marrying the first availability, basically. And they didn't have the opportunity to create something of their own. They just got into the grind of marrying someone, raise children. The husband may not be very successful. So when she saw the more successful sister-in-law, she gets jealous. The reality is that a lot of people do not have the privilege at that time. And that's why they couldn't come out. They couldn't choose their life. And I think this is something that Ray has been very well portrayed in his production. A story that is often untold in the glorious facade of Hong Kong. A lot of the local communities did not have the privilege to choose their life and create their own things. That's what I wanted to add.
Any second questions from the audience? Mark?
First of all, thank you very much, Ray and Patra and Alfred, for coming here. I really appreciate the film that you've made. I think it's beautiful and a very important film. I've not been very aware of these social issues in Hong Kong, although I've heard of it every now and then. And I'm wondering, I kind of understand, I'm filming it myself, so I understand why you may have chosen the ending the way it is. But I'm wondering, what is your own thought process to decide that it ends like the way it ends? Could it have been ending in a different way and still make the same impact, or what do you think?
So what ending are you referring to now?
I mean, the ending for Patra's character, the way it ends for her, which is kind of, yes, she's getting the dependence allowance, but she's being evicted eventually, so it's not really a positive ending for her, so to speak.
So what would be a positive ending?
I'm not saying it needs one, but I'm just wondering, what was your idea of ending the movie like this? A positive
ending would be staying in the house.
Yeah, but it's just all the cases that I interviewed, none of them had a better ending than this. I think, unfortunately, I wish that I could say that one of them, the family members, allowed her to stay, and she ended up, living there happily ever after. But well, as it turned out, none of the people I interviewed, I'm sure that those situations existed, but none of those people I met, in fact, most of them are far worse situations. I think somebody we knew actually didn't get anything. So, I mean, that happens so often. So I really couldn't think of a better ending because I already like sweeten it up by having Angie having this flashback, thinking about the good time she had with Pat, and she finally, true love in the end. But unfortunately, in reality, it was far bitter because some of the women that I met, they actually lost their trust in their loved one, and they get very, very angry and bitter because they felt that their lover hadn't provided enough care for them, and so they left with this bitter taste in their mouth for the rest of their lives. Some of them were able to get something, but they went through hell to get it. So again, not a wonderful situation. So I couldn't think of a better, more positive ending, unfortunately.
I'm not saying it's a bad ending at all.
No, I'm not
trying to put my thoughts in the proper words, so it doesn't come across as criticizing. Not at all.
No. Don't worry. I'm not worried about being criticized.
But basically, when I was watching at some point as an audience, I was hoping that there's some light at the end of the tunnel for her, and she may pick it up and fight and somehow win. Obviously, you want that for the heroine.
Then write a letter to Lexco right now, because that's exactly the situation we are in as an LGBTQ community. In reality, we are in a far worse situation than what I have portrayed on the movie. And if you feel that is hopeless, that's exactly what situation we're in right now. And there's something you can do about it, is to tell the government, this is unfair. The world shouldn't be like this. Just because of someone you sleep with that is same sex, it doesn't mean that you can't have the same rights as everybody else. I think that's exactly why I'm in this movie, is to tell people that if you feel this is unfair, you feel this is not right, do something about it.
Right, thank you.
And this is actually,
if I may address one quick question to Patra also. I really appreciate the work you put into this role. And I could see how, I can't even describe it in words, but you really touched me with your performance. What was your process of preparing for this role, since it's quite emotional for most of the scenes?
I guess you, well, for me, I am what you would call a method actor. So what I would do is to read through the whole thing again and again, read the backstory again and again, so that, the Angie, Pat, and the family, they're in my blood. And then I don't okay, here I have to do it this way. Here I have to do it this way. I react to, what is said, and that's why the emotional journey that Ray went through with me is very important, so that I know at this point, this is how she feels. And this is exactly, I just do it more spontaneous. But if you have prepared your role, and prepare in the sense that not just the dialogues, but the emotions, which means you're familiarized with all the characters. And your emotional journey being from the very beginning until the very end, then it will come naturally. And of course, being an actress, I have to concentrate on, very focused when I do when I do my work. I'm not one of those actors and actresses who may be very good and they can just shut off and go. After they have talked on the phone about stocks, okay, go onto the set and do it immediately. No, I usually keep very quiet, and I think about this particular scene, and then I go in, and that's how I do it. But if you ask me how do you prepare is that I read the script again and again, and I read the backstory again and again. Not just my backstory, but their backstories.